Want to go deeper with Lobbing Scorchers? You know, scratch under the surface, get down even dirtier than we already get? Become a YouTube member. Sometimes things just get a little too spicy, a little too weird, and a little too loose for the general public. And you know, the people to see that are YouTube members. We're talking about exclusive bonus videos, the podcast after show, exclusive written content, and little bits and pieces of information before the unwashed masses know about it. As a member, you not only get access to all of this amazing content, you get a badge next to your name and a slew of amazing emotes to use, not only in our live stream chat, but also in our comment section. And yes, we do have an emote for Jesus Ferreira, Go Snack, and Paul Rothrock. This is the best way to help keep us independent and keep us building out this crazy YouTube brand that we call Lobbing Scorchers. Hit the join button down below or hit the link in the top of our description if you're on mobile to join the ranks and become a Lobbing Scorchers YouTube member.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome in to another episode of Lobbing Scorchers Kickoff. I'm Ari. That's Nico. We got a big show for you here this morning. We're going to be talking some Seattle Sounders. We're going to get Nico's takes on this Atlanta United game. We're going to be doing some Leagues Cup talk, previewing this Cruz Azul match, maybe busting out the lineup builder. And we're going to hit some national storylines as well, including suspension for one Lionel Messi and the official acquisition of Rodrigo de Paul for them. So a lot to get to. I'm wearing my Ballard FC shirt. Noah and I went to the game last night. They're going to the Natty. So that was fun. I'm feeling good. Nico, how are you doing this morning?
Hey, what's going on, Ari, and that Lobbing Scorchers audience? Excited to be on. Yes, it was a good weekend. I had a lot of soccer, not all MLS, a lot of U11, U12 soccer there with my daughter. I was at the Bigfoot tournament up in Snohomish, so if I look tan or burnt, that's the reason why. But yeah, man, it was an exciting weekend. Some good games for sure in MLS. A lot of news as well, so lots to talk about, man.
Absolutely. Before we get into it, if everyone could please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, all social media. I think that's it. LobbingScorchers.com/sauce, LobbingScorchers.com/archive for your archive kits. All right, Nico, I was thinking change up the format a little bit this morning. You know, we do we're gonna get to this Sounders game. We haven't caught up since this Atlanta game, but I did want to hit a national storyline to start us off here at the top of the show, because I feel like it's this is the big story everyone's talking about league wide right now, which is that they actually did it. Major League Soccer has suspended Lionel Messi for one game for skipping the All-Star game, which on our last podcast we were theorizing if they were actually going to do. And I said I didn't think they were going to do it. And the reason I said that was because of the way Don Garber was talking about it at his press conference. It felt like he was already kind of setting the stage to be like, we're not going to suspend him because it's Messi, essentially. But then they actually did it. He's going to miss this upcoming game against FC Cincinnati, Jordi Alba as well. So I guess, Nico, what are your thoughts on the Messi suspension? Was it justified? Were you surprised that they did it? What do you think of this whole just situation?
It's absolutely justified. If there's a rule, then you should follow it. I was surprised that they did it. I was almost certain that the league was going to bend the knee to one Lionel Messi, and I'm glad that they didn't. The reality is that when Lionel Messi decided to come to MLS, a league that, you know, as much as it's developed and it has grown, you know, it has certain intricacies that you kind of have to try to understand and play through. And look, to be honest, I wasn't losing my mind over Lionel Messi not wanting to play and probably doesn't understand what's going on. But I was disappointed. I was disappointed because, look, I grew up with some of the greatest that just love to play soccer. Ronaldinho, Diego Maradona, there's a ton of similar situations where both of those guys were playing either charity matches or exhibition matches just because they love to play the game. And I always put Lionel Messi in that stratosphere, and it was disappointing to see him not do it. I heard people talk about get your money and that's that know your worth, a whole bunch of things that I don't think Lionel Messi needs any more money. I'm pretty sure that he's going to be all right. He's done pretty well for himself. So when this is your league, MLS is his league, he knows that he is the face of the franchise. He might as well be part owner of the whole thing. I would have thought that in some sense he would have some pride to go out there and play. And then if not, if your body really can't do it, which is totally understandable, then be at the All-Star game and cheer on the guys and be part of kind of what you signed up for. So it is not about, this narrative of him being this monkey in a unicycle, because that's what MLS wants. It's not that. It's the fact that it is your league and you are the face of it. So go out there and represent, because no one is saying that your legacy is going to be, it's going to take a hit or is going to scrutinize. But the reality is that in MLS, in terms of success, you really haven't done anything. Sure, you won a Leagues Cup, but I mean, have you really won a title or all these things? Not necessarily. There's still plenty of time for that to happen. But some of these little steps and moments are things that would help your brand, MLS, and kind of everything that you wanted to do when you got to this league. So I just was disappointed mainly on Lionel Messi's decision of not being part of the All-Star weekend.
Derek Richards, YouTube member for 7 months. Appreciate the support, man. Yeah, I think the issue here is that he no showed. He no showed the All-Star game, which, we've all wanted to no show our jobs at certain junctures. But I feel like if he had just said from the beginning, like, look, guys, like we've had 47 games already this year. I've played most of them. I'm 38 years old. I'm Lionel Messi. I can't do this. Then that would have been unfortunate, but I don't think anyone's going to say anything if you're saying you physically can't or don't want to do something. But yeah, even if that was the case, then, you could still show up, like you said, and be a part of the occasion. And I don't think you can just no show that. Like I was watching the Major League Baseball All-Star game a few days ago, and I was thinking, like, what if Shohei Ohtani was just like, no, I'm good, and then no showed? Like, he would probably get suspended for that, even though he's Shohei, right? So, I mean,
he said it early, and they got a replacement, right? I mean, that's the whole thing. You're right.
Yeah. So, but it is. I think the interesting thing to keep an eye on with this is just, a big purpose of the league right now is to specifically keep him happy and in the league. And Jorge Mas, their owner, gave a press conference where he said Lionel Messi is very upset about this because he's missing a big game. This was going to be one of the biggest games of the season. FC Cincy and Inter Miami are two powerhouses in the East. So Jorge Mas was saying he's upset about it. That quote got a lot of play. I don't know how much of that is Lionel. I seriously doubt he's flipping tables at his mansion in Fort Lauderdale or whatever over this. I think that could just be Jorge Mas, putting it out there that his players are like Lionel Messi's competitor. He doesn't want to miss this game, that type of thing. But I think if he gets disgruntled in any way and it affects his willingness or whatever to play in the league anymore, that's where it could become like a seismic type of issue. I doubt that'll happen. I think he'll probably just serve this suspension. We'll all move on with our lives. But it was surprising to see that they actually did it, and he and Jordi Alba are going to miss this game. So
it was probably surprising to him that a league would do that to him, especially a league that he's kind of been able to do and walk and handle any way he pleases. So he was probably more upset about the fact that he was going to have to serve that suspension. But I don't understand. Part of the statement by Jorge Mas was they didn't understand why they would get suspended over an exhibition game. It's like, do you really have to understand it? There's a rule that, like, you knew. I'm sure that somebody told him, hey man, if you don't show up, you're gonna get suspended. I mean, it's right here. It's like, a cop stopping me because I had to put my seatbelt on and be like, man, I don't understand why you're giving me a ticket because I don't have a seatbelt. Oh, you kind of should, because you're supposed to be wearing a damn seatbelt. So it's kind of the same situation. I just don't get where they feel blindsided by this thing, like no one knew about it, and that's the part where it's a bit of that ego, it's being Jordi Alba, like, what are you talking about? We have to be there, and now you're going to suspend us? That makes no sense. So that's kind of the part of it that I have an issue with. Again, I totally understand that two soccer players that play a bunch of games, and they have come from a bunch of games, would feel like their body isn't quite right. Because, we knew that Buanga's played a whole bunch of games, but he's clearly younger, very durable. Mukhtar, same thing, bunch of games. But at the end of the day, it's just about, nobody was going to ask Lionel Messi to play 90 minutes and to put the team on his back, or Jordi Alba to do the same. I mean, you're going to go to kick the ball around for a little bit. Same thing you do in your backyard with your dog and your kid, or whatever it is that Messi does in his free time. The same thing here, right? And it's more just about the principle, right? But again, part of me also kind of felt like, as I started my comment with, the competitiveness of Lionel Messi, I thought it was going to be there, and it wasn't.
Garber's quotes on this have been pretty funny, both his press conference and then the statement after the fact, where he's kind of trying to have it both ways, like propping up Messi at the same time as being like, we have to suspend him. But he was saying all this stuff of like, it's like, we have to do this because this is technically the rule. But he even said, like, we're going to look at that rule. We think that it actually, it might actually be unfair, and we might change it because of this situation. I don't know. It's like, dude, you could just say that he broke the rules and that you're gonna suspend him for it. Like, I feel like it looked a little silly to try and like do that at the same time as you're enforcing the rule or whatever. But I don't know. I guess he kind of feels like he has to do that. Before we get into the Sounder stuff, I did want to hit one more Inter Miami story that we haven't talked about yet, which is that the Rodrigo de Paul move went official. He's going to be an Inter Miami player. So they have another. He's not technically a Barca boy. He's an Atletico Madrid boy, but he's
Argentina boy.
He's Argentina boy. He's in the Barca boy conglomerate now. Tell me what you think of this idea real quick. I was thinking of like a reality show called Messi and the Barca Boys, and it's like they all live in the same house, like Big Brother or MTV's The Challenge, and then it's like chronicling their lives and you get all the like drama, in-house drama and stuff. And I think that could hit like a behind the scenes Messi and the Barca Boys, because at this point they've got a whole group of them with Rodrigo de Paul added. But
I'll tune in. I mean, I'd settle for a Hard Knocks situation in Miami, right? How cool would that be? Just having the background stuff on what the Barca boys are doing, and you follow Luis Suarez to his house and talk to his family and bring it back. I mean, I'm down with some Hard Knock stuff. That sounds like a Jorge Mas dream too, Mr. Jerry Jones of MLS. Yeah, he probably loved that.
Yeah, no, but I guess what I wanted your take on was, and I were talking about this. He's convinced that that this is like corrupt and they're cheating. I'll give my take real quick, and then you can give yours. Which is that Inter Miami, they are cheating. They are cheating, and the extent that how they're cheating is that like having Lionel Messi on your team is cheating. Like it gives you leverage to do stuff that other teams simply cannot do. And this is another example of that, getting a player like Rodrigo de Paul on their roster when they already have a squad of Barca boys. So it gives them like an advantage. As far as like what roster rules they're technically breaking, I mean, I hate to be that guy, but I'll continue to be that guy. Like when I look at this situation with their roster, it is a loophole to be able to get him on loan as like a non-DP or whatever, and then he's going to become a DP. But that's when Sergio Busquets is scheduled to come off the books. So they have Messi, Jordi Alba, and Busquets as DPs right now. They're bringing DePaul as a non-DP, and once Busquets comes off the books, he's gonna escalate to a DP. That's 3 DPs, so they're in the like parameters there. And there's a lot of examples of teams doing stuff like this, but just no one gives a shit because it's not a player of this type of status. My buddy Armand Kafai, who has a Substack called Footy Analytic Musings, noted a sub to that, by the way. He noted a couple of these, which is that the New England Revolution pulled a similar situation. Again, like this is no one talked or cared about this, but they at one point were able to keep Carlos Kiel, Gustavo Bo, and Veroni all together with Tomas Chancale, right? Their new DP forward. They had those 4 guys on the books at the same time, with Gustavo Bo eventually leaving and then Chancale like escalating. So that's like an analogous situation. Pepiel is in a similar situation at Charlotte FC right now, where he's not a DP, but once someone else comes off the books or whatever, he's got escalators. And even the Seattle Sounders famously, I mean, they've had rules bent in the past with like Clint Dempsey. So that's kind of another thing, is it's like, sometimes they do stuff like this, and Seattle has benefited from the past. But also the concept of a player not being a DP and then escalating to a DP. I mean, we saw that, right, with Jordan Morris. So like, I don't see what when they had Blaise Matuidi and 6 other DPs, that was a violation of the roster rules. They were not in parameters there, and they wouldn't spoon. But like, Nico, am I missing something? Like, is there a rule that they're actually technically there's a difference between a loophole, which is what this is, and actually being in technical violation of what they're allowed to do. Like, do you see that differently? Like, is there an actual rule that's being broken here?
No, not at all. And if there is any club that knows and understands, 1, the rules, and 2, the repercussions of not following exactly as they're supposed to, is Inter Miami. They've been hit with that before, where trying to find loopholes has resulted in some sanctions and some issues. I think they understand that, they know it. To your point, there has been a ton of acquisitions throughout the last 5 to 10 years that sometimes there's things under the books. There's things that we can all maybe speculate that there is something odd, or that there may be some push in the rules. But if it's within the system and you're able to manage and either reallocate certain ways about the structure of the salary cap, and as you mentioned, the loan, and then, by the time that it's no longer a loan, that there's an open spot, then it's all good. I wouldn't call it cheating. I just think that it is a bit of a edge that some clubs have to their own credit, right? I mean, Miami was able to get Lionel Messi. So sad. You got to kind of understand that everybody's going to want to play with Messi. You're going to get the best prospects out of South America. You're going to get great talent like Rodrigo de Paul and Alba and Luis Suarez trying to come in and fit in some sort of way to the salary cap space. What I would say is that in order to stop these teams from making this elaborate lies or elaborate ways to find measures to add additional talent, maybe MLS should just add another DP spot. And that would kind of end certain things. I am a salary cap guy. I don't need to add the reasons why. If you follow me, but at the same time, an additional DP, might stop this sort of situation from rubbing people the wrong way. And so, not cheating. The regular pot thing is fine. I still don't think that this move is going to put Miami above the East. I don't think that this move makes them the best team in the East. I don't think that it I don't think that it effectively fills the huge holes that this team has to be a balanced squad. Defensively, they're still a sham. Rodrigo De Paul's a very good player, but he's more of an 8, even if he is a very physical, strong defensive player, very smart. There is, questions about conditioning and questions about a whole bunch of stuff that he's got quality. Absolutely. He's a great talent. And, he's worked with Messi. He understands what Messi likes to do, wants to do. But when I look at that squad and I look at the lack of defensive presence, both on the midfield and the lack of talent defensively on that back line, I just think that they're going to have a lot more holes to fill either way. So it's a good move. It's one that, as always, puts MLS in this global scale, because it's not every day that you get to bring in a 30-year-old Rodrigo De Paul, not like a retired player, but a guy that still has plenty in the tank. But I just don't think it's like a move that's going to put Miami as the favorite in the East, in my opinion.
Derek coming in with the $2 super chat. Thank you, Derek. You the man. Appreciate you as always. Yeah, I mean, I get why it's tilting. It feels like they're playing a different game than anyone else right now. Like, no other team would be able to do stuff like this. So it does feel, but like, I have a hard time blaming them for doing it. If I was in their position, I would leverage what they have with Messi and the Barca boys the exact same way. They would be silly not to. The team,
but and why is it tilting though? Like, I mean, Seattle has been successful without having to bring Ibrahimovic or Thierry Henry or Andrea Pirlo or Lampard or Drogba. If certain teams want to go out there and get those players, then that's totally fine. I mean, Columbus did it the right way with bringing in a guy like Cucho Hernandez, and that's all good and well. That was done within the structures. Nobody, batted an eye to that, and that put Columbus at just a monster of a team. And we all see what Columbus is without a guy like Cucho. So, there are better things to go and get out there. If Miami wants to go spend a ridiculous amount of money on a 30-year-old midfielder, then let them go do it. There is plenty. And like I said, just the way that the East is placed right now, I still think that Cincinnati's better. I still think that there is potential for Philadelphia to, within their own system, just take over the East. They've been so good with Cornell at the head of that project. So to me, football will remain, and let them do what they do.
Wade says it's tilting because they're able to leverage their ownership Beckham to sign players that won't look at any other teams. I think that's sort of what it is. It's
okay.
It feels like they're doing stuff that other teams don't have the ability to do. But it's like, yeah, that's what happens when you get a player like Lionel Messi. Like, if whatever team that I'm a fan of, I would expect them to do. I would be tilted if I was a fan of Inter Miami and they weren't trying to maximize all the leverage they could to build a super team. The most successful teams in this league are the ones that are able to, game the cap, either find value, like production greater than what you're paying for it, which is something like clubs like Philly Union or even Seattle have been able to do to great effect. This is a situation where they got the best player ever, and they're reaping the rewards of that, not just for the Barca boys or Rodrigo De Paul, but like you mentioned, like all the South American prospects that they've been able to get. I'll be interested to see how much it moves the needle for them on the field, because I tend to agree, like their defensive issues go beyond just one defensive midfielder. I mean, Rodrigo De Paul specifically, though, I mean, this guy was dubbed by the press after the World Cup as Messi's bodyguard, like essentially on the field. So he does have like a type of skill set and presence that they need in midfield for sure. Is he alone enough to fix those issues? We're gonna see. They better hope so, because right now they're having a good year. They're up at like 1.8, 1.9 points per game, but that's they're like the 5th best team in the East this year, like even with Messi.
Yeah, and all of it is very Messi dependent. So it really is all about Messi. I mean, he had like 7 out of 8 games with brace, and he kind of put this team on his back, and offensively he's kind of Messi and everybody else, because Luis Suarez continues to decline. Segovia has been good, but it's not necessarily a guy that's fighting for the golden boot. So a lot of it's going to be very Messi dependent either way. So again, I think that there's a lot of holes for this team that still need to be filled. But Rodrigo, definitely an upgrade. Absolutely makes the team better. I just don't know if that balances the whole squad.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to find out. All right, Nico, let's get into the Seattle Sounders. Coming off this match at Atlanta United, 2-2 draw. Frustrating result because they score a goal in the 96th minute that looked like the game winner, and a lot of novelty to that go-ahead goal. A Nuhu to Osaze goal, which didn't have that on the pregame bingo card. I would not have called Nuhu putting one right on Osaze's head for a 96-minute go-ahead goal. And then Alexei Miranchuk hits an absolutely insane equalizer on the last kick of the game. So Seattle drops those 2 points. Nico, what I did a whole post-game live about it. What were your thoughts watching how that game went, starting with the first half that was not good, and then a second half that was a lot better, where they performed well enough to put themselves within 5 seconds, literally, of getting what would have been a really good road win. And then Miranchuk hits that goal, which for me, like, I said this at the time, and now a couple days later, I feel the same way. Like, if he's gonna hit that, he's gonna hit that. Like, that's props. I don't know what to say. That was like, you can't hit it any better than that. You definitely can't save it. So it was unfortunate, and I think there are things that Seattle definitely could have done better, especially in the first half, to so it wouldn't have come down to a play like that, because they just drew one of the worst teams in the league. But also, they win that game 99 times out of 100. Miranchuk just hits an insane shot. And by the way, like, that guy is considered by their fan base to be a huge bust, and league wide he's considered like one of the bigger busts of a DP in the last couple years. They spent $10+ million on him. Haven't gotten much out of him individually, and haven't had any team success with him as a centerpiece, certainly. And also, I thought he was like especially bad, especially in the second half of this game. He had a notably bad game, and then comes out with that. So, I mean, when you have a $10+ million player, sometimes they're going to do stuff like that. But I guess overall, Nico, how do you size this one up with Seattle dropping those 2 points right there at the end?
All right, before we break it down, and my overall conclusions is that Seattle can't keep dropping points. And I understand what you mean about circumstantial moments and the fact that Marchuk had a fantastic shot, but to me, this is just a pattern that they've had in the past. You go back to the Charlotte game. There's a bunch of games this season where
the Colorado game,
inability to just manage the game, manage those last seconds. I mean, Osase's goal is like the 96th minute or something.
It has to be the game winner. It has to be.
I mean, you have to be able to put that game on a freezer and a cooler and keep the ball and do things around it to not give the ball up. Nuhu has and I'm not blaming him. I'm just saying that when Nuhu had the ball and he's about to do a throw in, my guess is that he's going to drop it back to Thomas or to Yamar, and he goes far with it, and as if he was trying to get it to the other side, and you're just conceding possession to the team that's trying to get the goal. And then the Sounders have no other way to finish that game than to just drop deep and allow all this real estate for Atlanta to get on them. So to me, and I understand that Brian Smetzer is going to be he's going to want to be positive about the way that second half went about, and the fact that Osase got a goal and Pedro had a good second half. But at the same time, man, you got to be able to be kind of upset about the way that game ended. And, him saying that, there was nothing that they could do, that just, I don't like it. I just think that from holding possession to the way that nobody closed in on Marchuk, there's so much space for him to just hit that ball. Osas is right there. He should have been able to go at him and make him either play negative or not be able to take the shot, or at least, whisper in his ear and whatever. Something that scares this guy off. He should not be able to take that shot with that much time and put it where he put it. So championship teams don't lose these sort of games. Championship teams need to play 90 minutes. And that's the standard that I have for this Sounders team. Just a lot that went wrong in those last couple of minutes. So to me, huge drop points. When I look at where this team is in the standings right now, and you look back, like you said, the Colorado game, there's a Portland game, there's the Charlotte game. There's a bunch of games this season where if Seattle had been on point, they should be number one in the West. So take it for what it is. But I wasn't pleased with the way that game ended at all, despite them fighting through the adversity of a first half where movement was very stagnant, where the midfield had some issues. I thought that there were both Obed Vargas and Albert Rusnak were able to find the half spaces, but when they would get the ball in those half spaces, it was a bad touch or maybe a bad moment. Even when they got the ball out wide, Alex Roldan block shot. On the other side, Pedro as well, maybe not as involved. Jesus Ferreira did not have a good first half. He might have had a good game, to be quite frank. So all those things clearly were also caused by an Atlanta team that had a lot of numbers behind the ball, that they were motivated by the fact that they have continuously dropped points, and they wanted to get this right. They've had huge issues by not getting that early goal, and they got it against the Sounders. A goal that I thought Reed Baker-Whiten, I don't know what he's doing when the ball bounces and he allows, I don't know if it's Almiron to beat him to that ball, but that Reed's got to get there. Reed's got to not allow that first initial bounce to get behind him like that. And obviously Yammer Gomez Andrade is a little bit late to close that pass from Lat. Is it fortunate or luck the way that bounce went for Atlanta? Sure, but I'm thinking, why did the ball get there? Why did the ball get to Lat in that specific position? And the number one cause is Reed Baker-White not being able to get that bounce right on that far pass to his side. So a lot of things in that first half that went wrong, and that's why I credit the Seattle Sounders for coming in the second half with a lot more intensity, moving the ball better. Pedro's goal, it's very him, right? I mean, he's kind of cheating the system, and I think Brian talked about it. He's kind of not as far back as he should, but it was one of those moments where there's a clearance by Yamar, and I'm going to give Yamar a little more credit. I think that he was looking to put that ball to Albert, but Albert and the defender kind of both clash at each other, and the ball bounces past both, and Pedro has the speed, the athleticism, and the composure to put that ball away. That composure was phenomenal, and that finish to me was outstanding. The finish to me tells me that Pedro's confident. He has two guys on his right side that he could pass the ball to, but he wants to be that killer. He wants to be that game breaker, and he puts that shot perfectly through Brad Guzan. So to me, Pedro de la Vega deserved that goal, and I love his mentality right now. That killer instinct that he is currently on is what this team needs. So big game for him, big moment in that second half. But again, I think that the Seattle Sounders, for all that they did well, should have ended this game with 3 points traveling back home.
Yeah, I think the concern and the frustration coming out of this game, like you mentioned, is like the pattern of it, like similar stuff that's happened multiple times this season, even before this game. The Charlotte game to start the year is a game that they were seconds away from winning. The Colorado game, they were up 3-0 at home. And ended up drawing that game. And then this game, you drop 2 more points on the last kick of the game. We were talking about with Jo, that's 6 points right there, where if you just give them that, they just close out all 3 of those games, one of which they were ahead by 3 goals at home. They are up at the top of the West. So there's one way you could look at that, of like, based on the overall quality of how they've played this year, as far as putting themselves in position to get all 3 points, they could be a top of the West team, but they're not. They're in fourth because of these issues with closing out games, and I think that's that's the thing that they got to correct if they want to win any trophies, because like you said, come playoff time, crunch time, when you're playing the other elite teams in this league, you're going to be in situations where you have to hold a 1 goal lead in all likelihood at different junctures. And it's just mentality. Like, it's not like ability or talent, it's mental fortitude, which like I did want to talk about Atlanta United real quick, because I did think it was funny how this game played out how I predicted on our show. If you remember, I said that Atlanta United might score first in this game, but don't worry about it. It's like the Chicago Fire. They're gonna find a way to give up the leveler, which, Nico, even with as poorly as that first half went, at halftime, there was no part of me that had any expectation that that game was going to win 1-0, or that Atlanta was going to end that game 1-0 ahead. But this is what I wanted to talk about, which we also talked about this on the preview show in terms of like how their season has been going, but like the way they play when they get when they get a lead is just mystifying to me. That's the 8th time this year. 8th time. And this is why I was able to predict it. 8th time this year that they've been ahead 1-0, I think, and then not ended up holding the lead. And so it's like, why does that happen? Like, it's mental fortitude stuff that we're talking about. But like, dude, when you get the opening goal in the 7th minute, there's a lot of game left. You cannot like play like you're closing out a road game with a 1 goal lead and 10 minutes left from the 7th minute onward. That is not going to work. You are going to blow that lead every time. That's like, you can't make it that far, and you can't even make it like 50 or 60 minutes living like that, especially as the home team, let alone like 83. So I don't know. When I watch that team, I'm just like, why? You're the home team. You're up 1-0. You got an own goal to go ahead, which, yeah, I think it was a fortunate deflection for them and unlucky for Seattle, but they created that goal by making a dangerous opportunity. And they also had a couple other chances in the first half. So I don't think like fully parking the bus is necessarily an accurate way to describe what they were doing. But what they were doing, they were perfectly content when they had the lead to cede Seattle the ball and let Seattle knock it around in their end all day. And they did a good job in the first half of making sure that it was like possession without purpose for Seattle. But again, like, eventually that's going to crack. If you are playing like that the whole game and you're only up 1 goal, all it takes is one transition opportunity like De La Vega got, like we saw, and you're going to blow that lead. So I don't know. I'm just sitting there like, I was happy to see it because I knew if they kept playing like that, they were going to blow the lead. So that was sick. But it's also like, why are you playing like that at home? Like on the road, I could see it maybe a little more, but like, if it was one time, but like I watch them every week and they do that like all the time. So I don't like what is up with that? Like why do they play like that?
Well, that's because they don't have an identity, Ari. This is a team with a lot of names that has a non-existent soccer module. They don't know what they want to do. I said this before this game. They're a reactive team rather than a proactive team. They kind of just go off of what they can do. We talked to Felipe Cardenas about this whole interest from Atlanta United on Pedro de la Vega, and that those inquiries were made before the Club World Cup, through the World Cup as well, because the team has no wingers currently. They don't have any wingers. The width of this team is provided by the fullbacks, and even then, it's not good enough, right? I mean, it's Amador on the left, is at times it had been Saba, at times he had been Lennon, sometimes it's Ronald, which is crazy that's the guy that's going to be giving you any sort of width. Clearly, Almiron is more of a pocket winger, so he's going to work in those inside channels. So they don't have any wing play. They're not a very dangerous team when it comes to creating from wide positions. Sure, they have the Lats and they have a guy like Marinchuk and they have Almiron, but at the same time, I mean, that's very limited, and you've seen that through the whole season for Atlanta United, and Latilat even hasn't been clinical in front of goal and stuff. So this is a team that's in serious disarray. Before this game, Ronnie Dalla called his team soft and that it lacked character against Charlotte. And that's another reason why I thought that the Seattle Sounders should have gone to Atlanta and won this game. We talked about it. I thought it should have been a big win. I thought it was going to be a 3-1 win, and it just wasn't. So those are part of the things that make me frustrated, because you were the better squad. You were a team that knows what they want to do with the ball. You just weren't able to do it in that first half. Not that having quality players is not going to make things difficult, but you were the much better team in this game, and you were unable to show it on the field. Defensively, that's a poor team. They're an awful team defensively. I thought there were moments where Seattle's press throughout the whole game, it was ineffective in general senses. There were moments where they were able to get the ball back, but they weren't able to create off of them. So I think that there's a lot the Seattle Sounders did not do as well as they could have. Individually, I think that you have to get Christian Roldan some rest, because in this one he was very sloppy in the first half. Still good in other parts of the field, because this Christian Roldan, he's a baller. He's a baller. So he's going to defend balls. He's going to, get you the ball back. He's going to grind. He's going to work. He's like Rihanna song, work. But at the same time, he is doing mistakes that he doesn't typically do. And a lot of it has to be exhaustion. So for me, you got to be able to find him some rest, man, because it was not his best game. Again, I thought Reed, in an opportunity to solidify himself over Nuhu on the left side, was not good. And Nuhu comes in, he doesn't just get the assist, but he was good defensively. So once again, we go back to is Reed doing enough to win that position? I don't know. So all those things of individual effort throughout the game were just hard to watch, man. It was just not the Sounders' best game in this one.
Yeah, no, especially in the first half, which I can live with a poor first half in an East Coast road trip if you end up winning the game, and that's how I felt at the when Osaze scored that go ahead goal, and at that point I was like, that's got to be the game winner. I was like, all right, like first half is whatever, like it's a long road trip, even if it is a bad team. If you have one poor half, but you come back and you take the 3 points, then all is forgiven basically. But then you draw the game, and now you go back to it and you're like, man, like if you hadn't fallen behind against this team in the first half and kind of let them close up shop like that and make it so every single time you had the ball in their end, they just had everyone behind the ball and 5, 6, 7 guys in the box anytime there was a cross in, and then they weren't allowing Seattle to play through the middle at all either. Every time Seattle tried to play through the middle, it felt like it was like a turnover. So definitely, yeah, frustrating game. Like definitely positives to take away from it as far as De La Vega. That's a designated $7 million designated player moment once again that he has for a second game in a row. And I think you're starting to see him kind of solidify himself on this team and feel more comfortable and really like do the stuff that we all know is in his bag, like that you and I have seen at training a lot and that we've seen in games at different times. But those are when I think about what you need from a designated player to be successful and compete for trophies in this league. It's guys that make game-changing plays, move the needle, make impact plays that affect results positively, and maybe get you points in situations where you otherwise wouldn't or shouldn't. And he's looked like that type of player the last 2 games. So again, caveats acknowledged. Like, it's only 2 games against San Jose and Atlanta, but you do need to build towards the type of player that they need him to be. He needs a baseline like this to start from, where he starts making those plays and coming through in those moments. And that's why, like, when Noah and I were going back and forth on the caveats, because I felt like he was doing the doesn't count talking points a little bit, but he is right that it's like you can't crown him the savior based off of 2 games. But my thing, I guess, is just like, if we're gonna sit here and say, like, point it out when he isn't performing to that level or producing to that level on the stat sheet, like we have pointed out as something that's perhaps hamstrung this team at times this season, then I want to give him credit if he does start to look like that type of player, and he has over these past couple weeks. So I'll give him credit for that. And also, hopefully he can just continue to build on that, because that would be a big time ceiling raiser. But Nico, before we get into this, Derek coming in with the gifted membership. Derek's carrying the load super chat wise this morning. So
right, Derek.
Yeah,
you are today's Pedro La Vega.
You're the designated player of this episode of Lobbing Scorchers Kickoff. But what you were mentioning lineup wise, I think is a good segue into the next topic that I wanted to hit, which of course is Leagues Cup, which is starting on Thursday versus Cruz Azul, familiar foe, at Lumen Field. So what I wanted to do is in a bit here, we'll talk about how we think they should line it up for this game, bust out our trusty friend, the lineup builder, and talk about how we think Schmetz should handle this. But before we do that, I wanted to talk a little bit just about how seriously we think Seattle should take this competition and how much weight we put on it, as far as if they can make a run or if they can win it, what the implications of that would be, aside from the prize money and the Champions Cup spot, like just how we should perceive this tournament and how much stock, how much weight, and how much effort they should put on it. Before we do that, I mean, we got P. Magno coming in with the $5 super chat. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Let's hit this question he's got and then talk some Leagues Cup. Nico, you should take this one because you're probably more plugged into this than me. Where are we at with Snyder Brunell? Schmetz made it sound like he would be signed by now a few weeks ago. I'm wondering the same thing. I thought it sounded Hart reported that was imminent, and then I haven't heard anything since. What's up with
it? Just hasn't been announced, man. That's what it is. They are pushing it back farther and farther out, but for all accounts, it's all done and well. They were going to announce it last week. They didn't. They're going to probably announce it this week. A lot more, I guess, I don't know if more time, but for whatever reason, they just haven't announced it. But it's done. Brian Spencer has acknowledged it. Christian Roldan acknowledged it. He talked about the reasons and the things that Schneider can do for the team. So consider it done. It's just about, it hasn't been officialized just yet.
There you go.
But, he's a good player. I think he's going to be in the rotation. He's probably going to benefit out of Leagues Cup. I have I put stock in any international tournament. But at the same time, I understand that the all be all for the Sounders should be right now, specifically considering injuries and things, it should be the league. With the additional caveat that, you have a couple of players that have had a ton of minutes. You have not been able to switch out. But at the same time, Brian Smetzer has mentioned that the Sounders are always going to compete in any tournament. They're going to want to get wins. And I believe him. So it's going to be really hard for you and I today to, with the lineup builder, figure out the 11, because
we're going to try. We're going to try, baby.
Without looking at practice to figure out the physical component of where these guys are at, it might be kind of hard. But I think that there will be rotation. I would like to see a whole lot of Georgie, Manungu
Oh,
in Leagues Cup. I really do. I think that this is a tournament where he could use some minutes, could use some confidence. The same thing goes for Ryan Kent, just to kind of figure out where he's at, what he can do. I have said, and I said it on Friday on what we learned this week, that I want to see more Manungu than I want to see Ryan Kent. And that's only because I know that Manungu is going to be a guy that the team will have next season. Manungu is a guy that we need to nurture and grow and develop, because he's a huge very raw talent that needs to continue to get better. With Ryan Kent, I do not see much of a possibility that he'll be here next year. So maybe you get what you can out of him, but he's not a guy that I'm worried about figuring out for next season, because I just don't see a way that he'll be here next year. And he hasn't shown enough right now to be a guy that I'm dying or would be saying, hey, you guys need to keep him. So that's why I want to see more George Manungu. I want to see some Danny Leyva. Osase, he's a guy that, again, he gets the goal, but I don't know. There's more that needs to be done there. So maybe you do see him to see what other things he can do. On the air, he's a boss. And I think that if I have a moment where I need a set piece that I need somebody to get to, he's a guy that I definitely went on the field. But a lot of the other stuff is problematic. We're probably going to see a lot of Danny Musovski. He was not good against Atlanta. He really struggled. All in all, when he would get the ball in the link up, he just had a hard time not getting services in as well. But we do want to try to figure out what's up there, including maybe adding Ferreira up there. So there's going to be a lot of rotation, but I still think that Seattle should and will want to win Leagues Cup or get far in a tournament where the Sounders have done historically well on. Even if you go back to the showcase where we went to the final in Vegas against Club Leon.
Yeah, no, exactly. Michael Pogson coming in with the 5 gifted memberships. Thank you guys so much for all the support this morning. Appreciate each and every one of you. You're the ones who make the show go. So thank you. I'll reiterate my take on Leagues Cup, which is that if the Seattle Sounders make a run to the final and they win it, then it's a very important and distinguished trophy, great tournament that is highly significant and a big time addition to the trophy case. If they get grouped or eliminated earlier on in the tournament, cynical cash grab, doesn't matter. Don't care about it. It was just to get some lineup rotation and you can rest guys, and that's all it was. And I don't care. No one cares. That's my take on Leagues Cup. We got another another super sticker, Matthew Malcolm this time. Thank you so much. Oh man, they're just rolling in on this Monday morning episode. Appreciate you guys. But yeah, I mean, like, I'm being a little facetious, but the way I see this tournament is that what I really think that they should do and are probably going to do is in these group stage games, these early games, rotate, get guys run that need it, get guys minutes that need it, and give guys rest that need it. We've talked so much about how the Christian Obed double pivot just needs a break. This is a perfect opportunity to do it in these early games, and you see how far that can take you if it can take you out of the group. And then it's sort of how I feel about Open Cup too. Like any tournament that's going on in season, like the further you make it, the stronger theoretical starting 11s that you put out. And if they're in the quarters, semis, and it looks like they make a run at the final, then I honestly do want to see them put like the stronger starting 11s out there and try and win it. Why not? Like, if you're right there with a chance to win a trophy, whatever the trophy is, you may as well go for it. And like with this one in particular, people might not like it, but it's here to stay. Like the partnership and the relationship in general between these two leagues, that's something that they are very intent and have put a ton of money into trying to foster. So this tournament's going to be there for this foreseeable future. Seattle almost won it in 2021 and lost to Club Leon in that final in Vegas. So if you can put this one in the bag, like it's another trophy. And then also another thing I was saying is just that if you do just win it, then it kind of lessens the I guess pressure or importance on future iterations of this tournament, where you can be like, all right, we already won it. So if you don't win it in a given year, then it's like not that big a deal. People might not think it's that big a deal anyway, and people are entitled to care about it however much they want to. But for me, it's like if it looks like you have a genuine chance at making a run to the final and potentially adding this trophy, you should do it. You may as well. There's no reason. The reason not to would be to be like, we gotta save everything for league play. But one of the big selling points of this team is the depth to be able to do stuff like this, like contend in a tournament like this, when you're putting out an 11 that's theoretically not your strongest. And I think the depth has shown itself this year. I do like the fact that Seattle hasn't had their DP number 9 at all this year, pretty much. And a lot of the other injury issues that they've had at times with the center back group as well. And that they're still top 4 in the West. I think that is a testament to that they have the depth to be able to get out of a group like this, even if they're not playing the double pivot. Although I'll be interested to see what they do with that, because they don't have JP. So with that in mind, Matthew coming in with another $5 super chat. Thank you. Don't fight the oligarchs. Learn how to work with them to achieve more benefit the squad. Yeah, exactly. Sometimes you have to embrace the oligarchy. This is one of those situations. They're like I said, they have that oligarch class has a ton of stock in this tournament. So it's not like this is a situation where they're still like testing out the tournament and it may or may not be there. So like if you win the trophy, it's not gonna mean anything because the tournament won't exist in a couple years. Like they're gonna be playing this thing every year for the rest of eternity. So you may as well win it one time. Nico, before we bust out this lineup builder, anything else on just like the importance or stock that they should put on this?
No, I like I said, I would put a lot of stock in it. And I've always said that championships and titles is what this team needs to get to acquire. I know that it is something that Brian Smetzer hasn't had in quite some time, and quite honestly, this sort of tournament is the easiest way to get a trophy. It's a lot easier to win 8 games or 7 and be in a final, rather than having to play entire season to get to the playoffs, win a final. I mean, it's a lot more difficult to win your domestic league. So it could create a chance for this team to get some silverware. But at the same time, just looking at the current state of the squad, and we'll talk about it moving forward, because I don't know how much rotation will be, at least for this first Cruz Azul game. That's probably your toughest game. Seattle's just in a difficult situation when it comes to the rotation of players. But I think that is a good chance. I think it's a good opportunity that the team should try to take.
Cruz Azul, the same team that Seattle played in CONCACAF Champions Cup earlier this year, that's the team that they got eliminated by. Do you have any read or intel on what their situation is, as far as, are you expecting them to play rotated side? What type of form that they've been in since CONCACAF Champions Cup, and how that might affect Seattle's chances of taking the result in this match?
They're going to go full in, just because they just started their clausura, right? They just started the new season. They've only 3 games in. They're going to use this to get their right squad. Not to mention the fact the Liga MX teams, they like this right here, and that money side, it's given by Leagues Cup. You want to get as far as you can to just get another bonus. So to me, they're going to go full on. The team is basically the same, with the exception of Giacomakis, and I think El Toro Fernandez is gone there too.
Where did Giacomakis go?
I can't remember where he went, but he's no longer there.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And I do think that this team, by all accounts, has its core still there intact, and they're going to just be a difficult team to play, just as they were when they came here. From defensively all the way down to Charlie Rodriguez and the rest of the squad, I think that this is a quality team that Seattle knows they're going to have to be very good defensively, good against, if they want to be able to get a result.
I'm seeing Giacomakis on Wikipedia as he is still on Cruz Azul.
Is he still there?
He could be.
Maybe he's on the cusp of being out, but he hasn't played.
He is a mercenary. Like that guy, he'll play wherever. So who knows if he's going to be on the team? But I mean, either way, like any game against Liga MX side like this is. The reason that I don't mind this tournament is because I've said it before. Like these reps against teams like this make you better. So for a guy like Georgie, who just the number one thing he needs right now that he's not getting because of where he's at on the depth chart is reps. So if you can get him those against competition like this, that's a great way to develop him and elevate his level. So to me, obviously I want them to make a run and try and win it. But also another thing I'll be keeping an eye on is just how a player like Georgie performs. Like you mentioned, Ryan Kent, it's another opportunity platform to get an evaluation, deeper evaluation on him. So especially for these group stage games, I'm going to bust out the lineup builder right now, but especially for these group stage games, I want to see a lot of rotation, first of all, but I'm going to be watching to see how those rotated pieces are their form regardless of result, I guess. If they take a negative result, but Georgie or Danny Leyva look incredible, that would still be a positive to take away, no matter what happens in the game. So a tournament like this, that's another thing that I'm looking at. But let's
So just going back over here, it sounds like Giacomakis has not played with the team at all. He's effectively out. He just hasn't gone anywhere.
Okay, so he's not going to be playing.
Charlotte's been trying to get just trying to make a European leap. But yeah, he's definitely on the cups of leaving.
That's so we'll see. Not surprising, to be honest. But all right, let's try and project this lineup. Like you said, this is going to be probably a fool's errand because we don't know how Schmetz is going to handle this. But we can kind of look at it from the lens of like what we want to see or what we would hope that Schmetz would do, and not necessarily like. I think I learned my lesson from when we projected the rotated lineup for one of the, I think the Colorado game, and then it just was the exact same 11 as it always is. So, but I think he actually is going to rotate to a lot more effect. So this will be interesting to look at. All right, this is just the default one. So we're going to change this up a lot. It's going to be Andy T in goal, right? Like there's Steph still in protocol. What do you think they do at left back on Thursday versus Cruz Azul? Is this an RBW situation or a J-Bell situation? We had this wrong for the Atlanta game. I said that it felt like J-Bell was for like Schmetz's first in the pecking order behind Nuhu, and especially I was thinking for a road game, maybe you put the more defensive option there, and then he started RBW. Do you think RBW gets run out there again, or is it going to be J-Bell, or is it going to be Nuhu after Nuhu played well coming off the bench, didn't get ejected and got an assist and was fine on defense, I think. So do you think Nuhu gets back in the 11 here?
I think Nuhu gets back in the 11 in my opinion.
Yeah. And I think he's still in the process of earning his equity and his role back. But like, I think what he did in Atlanta, jokes aside, like that's what he needs to do. Go out there, incident free, God willing, and contribute to the success of the team. Which let's be fair, he did do that. So that's, to me, that's like, it's not the highest bar in the world, but he cleared it. So I wouldn't hate it if he starts here. Let's just hope that he doesn't get a red card.
And Brian, he alluded to the fact that he's going to need to be good defensively against Cruz Azul, and that to me means let's probably not be as adventurous on the left side, and let's have our, essentially best one-on-one defender out there. Despite the issues, despite the mistakes, the liabilities and things, I think he's still the guy that, if anyone's going to lock down that side, is likely going to be a new. So yeah, I think that's why.
What about CB? Like, do you put J Bell in one of these spots, or do you just? I feel like CB is one where you can theoretically ride your normal pairing, especially because both these guys are still relatively recently coming off injury, and you're trying to get them back 90 fit. So if I'm looking at it, I feel like he might just run Jackson Reagan and Yamar.
Yeah, I am 95% sure that he'll run it back. To your point, chemistry. You need to once again rekindle that. You have to make sure that that stays positive. That's got to give you some continuity. This team has no one in that center back group that moves the ball as well as Reagan does. After that, in the Atlanta game, he put a couple of gorgeous balls through into half spaces that unfortunately went nowhere in that first half. But he was one of those guys that I thought had a very good game. And same goes for Yamar. Despite the own goal, despite being slightly late to close down a lot on that goal, I think that he was important. I think he was crucial to keep Lat at bay. So I think he's a guy that stays.
James says, do not want to see Yamar in this tournament. If he goes down, it's a disaster for the regular season. I mean, I agree that it would be a disaster for the regular season if he.
But you ain't gonna get him out of there. Believe me.
Well, there's that, but there's also you have to balance like the fear of him getting injured again with the reality that if he's not getting like regular minutes to get fit, that actually I would say increases the chances that he could get injured when it does come back. So it's tough. It's like you are risking him every time you put him out there like any other player, but you also need to get him fit and be able to make it through these games without getting injured, which, keeping him out, that could increase it when he does come back type thing. So it is, I don't envy having to make those decisions, but I think he runs this duo in this game. What do you think about right back? You think I think this is probably a KKR situation, but I could also see him. I don't know which one, Alex or KKR.
I have a hard time with this one because logic tells me that the pivot should rotate, and that if anything, you could probably do KKR here and put Alex Roldan maybe in the Christian Roldan role. But at the same time, I don't know if Cruz Azul is the team that I want to experiment against. So to me, I think it's going to stay the same. And maybe we should just do KKR just to make it interesting. And maybe let's put Alex on the Christian Roldan spot just for.
Well, because the double pivot is going to be the thing that I think is kind of the hardest to predict. I don't know what they're going to
do. And that's what's going to essentially move everything around, right? Because if you got to give Christian some time off, you're going to have to figure out how. And Alex is the only guy that I think you could do there in order to get it right. But if that stays the same, then Alex is going to play that right back position.
The only way to replace a Roldan is to put in another Roldan. Like
so let's just do it just for fun. Just for fun.
I do think this is like a opportunity to see if this works. Which I think I've said that I think it's probably the best option they have with the JP injury. And like, dude, I don't want to see Christian play 1 minute in the group stage. I know he's probably just going to start him every game, but
he might start this one. If he's starting any game, he might be this one. But let's you and I do it different with our lineup, and let's leave it like this.
Caveat acknowledged that it's probably going to be just Christian and Obed again. But
I agree.
Dare to dream. I mean, at a certain point, like you were saying, like in the Atlanta game and really these last few games, there's been just like fatigue type mistakes that Christian Roldan just never makes. So hopefully I would not start him in this game, but it's also clearly in recent weeks, like the load management has not been taken into account with that situation. But I think this would be cool if they did it. Do you think it's Obed beside Alex, or
Yeah, I think it's Obed. I think Obed stays just to figure out how it works. If I'm tinkering with Christian, I'm just going to let Obed. Not to mention that Obed, despite him having a lot of minutes as well, he's had some times off. He, went to the All-Star game, only played a couple of minutes, and not a lot. I thought that despite him not having his best game against Atlanta, that recovery run that he does to stop Lot in a breakaway moment.
Oh, that was sick.
Is to be applauded. I mean, it's not
I meant to
Metcalf
mention that.
running down,
Buda,
who was it?
Buda Baker.
Buda Baker. It's not almost there, but man, I just thought it was phenomenal the way he just cut the field. Lot has 10 yards on him, and he just gets them without fouling, I may add, fouling, just completely delays the play and stops that. So I think that Obed starts this one.
That was insane. That was one of the best defensive highlights of the season. And that's one of those ones where when we're talking about like scouts in Europe and why Obed's stock is so high right now, like, yeah, it's the technical ability and his attributes as a facilitator and ball progressor and helping the attack. But scouts are looking at stuff like that when you're freaking busting it 60 yards against Latte Loth, the fastest dude in the league, sprint speed wise, and you track him down and, like you said, cut out the chance without fouling him. Incredible play. God, he's so good. All right, so we're going with the Alex rolled on Obed double pivot. I would be excited to watch that, even though I do hope Obed gets. What do you think? What do you think they would do in a situation where Christian and Obed aren't in the 11? Like, who would it be?
I think I really do think that it's going to be Alex and Danny Leyva.
Yeah.
Unless JP's back, right? We heard that it could possibly be 3 weeks now, 2 weeks before he gets back. But without JP, I think it would be Alex and Danny Leyva. That's all you really have left in store for now. I mean, it would be not just disrespectful, but it'd be like, man, like, really, if you play Schneider and Alex over Alex and Leyva, right? The guy just got promoted. He's 18. I mean, I think that Leyva would be the guy there.
Yeah, no, I agree. Everyone listen to Azurata. Let's get more likes on the video. Yeah, I haven't plugged that since the top of the show. Everyone watching right now, everyone in chat, give the video a like. Let's get this one to at least 50. Maybe we can get it to triple digits. Who knows? But yeah, please like the video. Get us in that algo. All right. How do you think that they line up the front four, Nico? This is going to be the interesting question. For me, I got Ryan Kent right here. Do you see that any different?
I mean, look, if Paul Rothrock was fit, I think it'd be Paul. But you know what? I mean, to me, yes, you're right. I think Ryan Kent would go there. But with how good Pedro has been, I might just put Ryan Kent on the right side and see how that
I like that. I like
works
that.
out.
Let's do it. Let's just have some fun here. I think that is something worth trying. Just it worked with De La Vega. You just moved him to the other side. Now he looks like a god. Maybe Ryan Kent looking like a god again. All it takes is for him to switch sides. And De La Vega, I wouldn't mind necessarily him starting here just to keep him in that confident rhythm that he's in right now. If he has another good game against an opponent like this, it will only boost his confidence and his stock in general.
Yeah, and you pulled him in the 67, 68.
Yeah.
They pulled him rather early, maybe 70th, but he definitely got pulled off early. So I think Pedro starting again is very possible.
I agree. I don't know if he's going to do the moving Ryan Kent to the right side yet, but let's leave it like this. I like this. I'm pretty sure Rusnak is going to start again. What I would want to see, I want to see at least a little bit in this tournament. Danny Leyva get some run at that spot.
Me too.
I want to see that. That's something that they need to find out if that works. There's a lot of theories that his best position is actually in that more advanced role, because what Danny Leyva does well, he's not the fastest guy in the world. He's not the most physical defensive presence in the world, but he is a very good long passer. He's got good through balls. He's a good facilitator. So I think those are all attributes that lend themselves well to that position. I don't think they would start him there against Cruz Azul. Do you think there's any chance that they run Ferreira in the center there, or it feels like they just they ride Rusnak at this spot pretty much unless they absolutely can't.
No, I think that is more likely for them to run Ferreira at the 9 than it is at the 10, to be quite frank. And I think you're right. I would like to see Danny there at least one game, not in this one, obviously, but I think that Danny Leyva, if anything, you need to figure out what he could provide you. And yes, I think not just the through balls, the cerebral component, he's got a high IQ, but set pieces. I think he's one of the best set pieces takers on the team.
He is,
and therefore, that being Albert's role, I think that Danny could, provide that. So it's kind of cool to just see it one time to see how it works out.
As far as the 9 goes, I think they're gonna run Ferreira. It could, Moose has been starting, and I think he's earned that, even though, like you mentioned, Atlanta game wasn't necessarily his best game, but I mean, he's been the line leader every situation where Jordan Morris hasn't been able to play, which has been most of the season. So it could be a Moose game, but I think this is kind of a situation where you can both get one of your best players on the field and do a little experimentation with trying to get him more run in a different role to get him more reps there, especially playing with Rusnak there instead of the wide channel. So, I mean, I guess I want them to run Ferreira.
Me too.
Up top in this game. I don't know.
I second that. Let's put him there. Okay. I second that. I think Danny struggled. I think that, the aggressivity and the decisiveness in Ferreira has grown. Like I said, in the Atlanta game, it was very difficult, and he played the 9 for 6 minutes, 10 minutes after some changes, or maybe before Osase came on. Obviously didn't get a lot more than, I think, one opportunity off of the right side that he can't quite get. He gets to the spot in the 18, but he can't quite settle it down. But yeah, I would like to see Ferreira. I think that you need to exploit that. I think that he is slowly getting a lot of confidence. He's learning what this group is about. I asked him about whether his success was because of where he was being played or more because of finally just that chemistry getting with the team and knowing what players are going to be. And, he alluded to that's a big component. So I think if you put him up there, it'd be interesting to see how it plays with how good and defiant on the ball Pedro La Vega has been. I think that they all touch the ball very similarly. I think that him and De La Vega have a good rapport. So yeah, I'd like to see it, man. Why not?
Chat does not like the Ferreira at the 9 idea. Look, the logic is, first of all, the last time that he played up there, he scored a game-winning goal against one of the best teams in the league. So I think building on that, trying to build on that makes sense, because the reality is you need, with Jordan out long-term here, you need a contingency plan besides Moose. And there's not a lot of ironclad options for that, I guess, other than Osase, who is still just very unproven. So I want to see Osase get run up top too, but I understand people are still scarred by the St. Louis game and the San Diego game, but you need to. This is an opportunity to find out if this works, and if it does work, you have a viable option like when Moose can't go, or you need to
Yeah.
rotate him out and like put Osase out there like against Cruz Azul. Like, no, you're not gonna like even if you want them to do that, he's not gonna do that. That's not even like, to me, that's not even like worth talking about, because it's just not something that will be. I don't want to say guarantee. Maybe Schmetz pulls one out of the bag that we're not expecting. Maybe he does it. I seriously doubt that he starts Osase in a Leagues Cup group stage match against Cruz Azul. And the reality is too, like, Ferreira has been in good form for like a month now, guys. Like, that's objectively true. So, I mean, the Atlanta game, he wasn't a great game for him. It was a bad game for the whole offense in the first half, but he has been producing and providing final product for the last few weeks. Has looked a lot better as part of this attack. So that's another reason why, like, the logic of running him there, I think, makes sense.
Yeah, and look, guys, if there's anything that hasn't changed in Cruz Azul, is that back line. And let me assure you that Danny Musovski's game doesn't match up well with whether it's the 3-man back line that Cruz Azul can't play in, or 2 center backs in the 4-man back line. POV and Willardita are physical. They're more athletic. They are more experienced. They have more international minutes. I mean, these 2 guys are fantastic. And even when they play with the 3-man back line with Lida in the middle of those 2, that's a tough lineup, man. I mean, they're coming from a 4-1 win over Leon. Now, Leon is not like this amazing brute attack force, but they're still a quality team up top, man. And those 3, man, they make it difficult. I think that the only way to really get around those 3 or 2 is dragging them out. And I think Ferreira could do a lot of that. You're going to have to play in the half spaces. You're going to have to play with your back to goal. You're going to have to get your wingers involved. There is going to have to be a collective effort to score goals on this team. Not to mention that with Kevin Mier being as fearless and as much of a gambler as he is being a goalkeeper, he's had a couple of boo-boos already in this season, because he sometimes is a little bit too confident on the ball. A guy pressing like Ferreira can lead to some really good moments, and we all know that Ferreira is the better defensive pressing attacker or 9 than Danny Musovski. So to me, it feels like he fits better into this game. But again, I am not Brian as much. I'm just kind of giving you what I think leading up to this game.
No, it's a good point about the two-way presence, because that is as much as chat doesn't like it. That's something that Brian Schmetzer takes into account. Ferreira is very good at pressing. He is a high work rate player, and he's good on defense. Like, he's a two-way player. In more so than Moose is. So that's another reason why, regardless of what any of us want them to do, I think, we also have to think about what the coaches are evaluating, and they are taking that stuff into account. And as far as the notion that Ferreira at the 9 is just a total bust and we have no evidence of that working, I don't even really need to go back to the FC Dallas days where he had success there. He started there and scored a game-winning goal against San Diego FC like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Like, that's the idea that it's been like it hasn't like, there's no recent track record of it working at all is just not true. So, like, I don't know if it's the best option in the world, but with Jordan Morris out, it's something that you at least do have to try. You have to. So I think that they're going to do it in this game, probably. Zach wants Georgie in there, so let's just do that just for kicks and see how that works. Where is he? What is Georgie even on FOTMob? What the hell? How do you spell his name there? Oh, it's because he's on Tacoma Defiance. I would like this.
I like that too. I like that too. Absolutely. I like that too.
And hopefully, hopefully we see Ryan Kent get a lot of run in this tournament, even if he doesn't necessarily start this game. But no, I mean, I think this lineup's kind of fired. This lineup can can hang with Cruz Azul. So we'll see if they can do it on Thursday at Lumen Field. All right, Nico, I got to get out of here. So we'll call it right there for this episode of Lobbing Scorchers Kickoff. Thank you guys all so much for tuning in. Thanks for all the super chat love and the gifted memberships this morning. Love and appreciate all of you. We'll see what the pod under the lights schedule is this week with the Thursday game. There's going to be some tinkering. Follow me on Blue Sky for timing and information on that, and we'll have some stuff out before the game, and we'll be talking after the game as well. Nico, appreciate you as always, man, and I'll catch you soon.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
See you guys. Peace.
Some people come to Lumen Field for the tactics, for the soccer, the atmosphere, and some come for Paul Rothrock's hair. Me personally, I come for both, because I have agendas to push. Live soccer isn't just better, it's way more personal. From making friends to becoming the guy in your section that's just constantly yelling about advanced statistics. Get tickets to any Sounders match by visiting lobbingscorchers.com/tickets. You support the pod, our agendas, the vibes, and the chaos.